Let me do a roll. I see Alan present, Bradford's here, Council Lady Evans, Council Lady Gamble, Councilmember Hall, here, Council Lady Hurt. I saw her, yeah, okay. Councilmember O'Connell, Brogan's here, and Melody Young. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have a consent agenda starting on page 2, resolution RS 2021-992 Murphy and Nash amends ordinance number BL 2021-615 to authorize the government to add phasing, add to modify the acceptance of new public sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for 3 properties located at 750 and 754 Nolensville Road and Nolensville Road unnumbered in Williamson County. Bills on second reading. Bill 2021-754, Robert Murphy National O'Connell, abandons a portion of Ohio Avenue right-of-way and easement. On page 3, Bill 2021-755, Parker Murphy and Nash, abandons an existing drainage easement rights for property located at 338 East Trinity Lane. Bill 2021-756 abandons a portion of easement rights located at 5649 O'Brien Avenue unnumbered, and 5806, 5808 Charlotte Pike, formerly alley number 1520. Bill number 2021-757 authorizes the Metro government to negotiate and accept a permanent easement for the Lytton Avenue Storm Water Improvement Project for property located at 1305 Lytton Avenue. Page 4, Bill 2021-758, Benedict Murphy and Nash authorizes the Metropolitan government to negotiate and accept a permanent easement for the Megavic Pike Stormwater Improvement Project for 4 properties located at 1107, 1109, and 1111 Megavic Pike and 3104 Gallup Pike. Bill 2021-759, Benedict Murphy and Nash authorizes the Metro government to negotiate and accept permanent easements for the Scott Avenue Stormwater Improvement Project for 2 properties located at 2926, 2928A Scott Avenue. We have letters to approve. Abandon 2021-760, Lee, Murphy and Nash abandons existing sanitary sewer force main and easements and to accept a new sanitary sewer force main and easements for 3 properties located at 4309, 4331, 4335 Maxwell Road, also known as Heritage Landing Force Main location. What's the difference between a force main and a regular main?
Pressure.
You got a pump on one end, gravity, either a pump or gravity. Forced is a pump.
It is best for a regular main to bust than a force main to bust.
Okay.
And I will extrapolate the reasons why.
On page 5, Bill number 2021-761, Hager, Murphy and Nash accepts new public sanitary sewer and water main, sanitary sewer manhole, fire hydrant assembly and easements for property located at 1011 Lady Nashville Drive, also known as Heritage Hills Apartments. And Bill 2021-762, Rutherford Murphy and Nash accepts new sanitary sewer and water main, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrant assemblies and easements for the 2 properties located at 6944 Nolensville Pike and 7236 Old Burkett Road, also known as Old Burkett Road Mixed Use Development. Anything need to come off the consent agenda?
Councilmember Gamble has joined us.
Councilmember Gamble is here.
Mr. Chairman.
Move to approve the consent.
1 second, sorry, Councilmember. You didn't have 974 on consent.
No.
Now may I move to approve the consent agenda?
Okay.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Consent agenda. Any seconds? Second. Discussion? Going once? Going twice? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Consent approved. 10 in favor, 0 against. Starting here, resolution RS 2021-950 by Hall approves the property at 4601 Ashland City Highway to be used for a waste transfer facility.
I understand that it's to be withdrawn.
It was withdrawn last night at Budget and Finance.
It was disapproved.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, you're right.
Disapproved here because the agency hasn't
Yeah.
pulled it from the BZA.
Everything she said, yeah.
I move to disapprove.
Second withdraw.
We were informed today that the BZA has,
We have, okay.
it was withdrawn from the BZA's.
Are you here to speak? Is anyone here to speak on this?
Can we try to grab him?
Yeah, try and grab it.
he's here.
I'll grab it.
Can we move it to the Hill check?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we can go to the next one. Okay, RS 2021-974, to Nashville, Withers, Welch, Sledge, and Conner. Taylor approves an agreement between CSX Transportation and Metro Department of Public Works for payment to CSXT for costs incurred due to the maintenance repairs of 4 bridges over Jefferson Street, Hamilton Avenue, Eastland Avenue, and Sidco Drive.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to defer one meeting, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to defer one meeting. I know you had some concerns previously, when we deferred it, wanted to talk to CSX about
Yes, sir.
some of the slow crossings. Any
Idlings,
report?
crossings. The one thing I wanted to mention is that in the interim, Congressman Cooper's office informed me that they have filed a bill at the federal level affecting some of these issues, and I want to now bridge that conversation with CSX and just give this one more meeting to have that conversation.
Bridge. Let's see what you did there.
You're quicker than I am. I didn't even think about that.
All right.
I know, it's so intuitive.
Let's stay on track.
I feel this meeting's going off the rails.
Let's not go there.
Any other conversation on the motion to defer one meeting? Going once?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the one meeting deferral, vote saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. 11 for deferral, 0 against. And back to the top of the agenda, Resolution RS 2021-950 approves the property of 4601 Ashland City Highway to be used for a waste transfer facility. Yeah, I got it. Do we have a motion?
Motion, second.
Second for discussion. Brother
I move to
Hall.
withdraw.
Yes, it was, the first half, it was already withdrawn. It was withdrawn at BZA today, so it'll be completely withdrawn tonight on the floor.
Okay, will be withdrawn. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you home. At our last meeting, we had a conversation about the water equipment for measuring. I spoke with Director Potter just a few minutes ago, and they're about halfway through that audit, and they've actually had someone from the Nashville office audit go with them, and so far have not found any issues. So we should probably hear back. They're going to finish up over the next couple of days, so next meeting we'll probably hear results. Yes.
And if I can bring up something, I am especially interested in trash and would love to help get this committee more interested in stuff related to composting, recycling, and C&D landfilling. And if folks would be interested in some field trips to actually see stuff in action, I'll set that up if you think that'd be fun.
Last year, Chair Henderson had kind of created a subcommittee on recycling and solid waste.
So we could revive that, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually like to see that subcommittee kind of meet more often.
Well, and we are going to have this special solid waste commission as well, so we can.
And
See
I
how
will
that
say
happens.
that,
Okay, good point.
just today I was reviewing my hub requests from January in 2,914 requests. 53% of them were about trash, recycling, and litter.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
You
just
need to come out
District
to the
7,
GSD.
so.
I just say you need to come out to the GSD. You don't have to worry about trash.
We don't get that in the GSD, that's for sure.
So we have some real opportunities
Yeah.
that we need to make sure.
Half my district's USD, half GSD. I don't hear anything about trash at
All right, well,
GSD.
let's do
How much, the state roads, Knowlesville Road, I know the state is responsible for mowing the median, always allowed to trash, so Harding and Knowlesville, both state highways. Is the state responsible for cleaning the trash on those
Yes.
roads too?
Yeah, and that's been part of the problem with so many complaints coming in. Now granted, there are a lot of times there are also metro right-of-way, but some of the most visible litter is on state routes, and and to their defense, your average Nashville resident's not gonna understand. It's in Davidson County, but it does fall under the state. And they have a contract for, I think it's once a month pickup, but the interstates can look pretty bad quickly.
Exit ramps tend to be the worst.
Well, I would say city streets are, I mean, in my neighborhood,
On ramps and exit ramps, they just, some like people when they're getting home, they say,
Gallatin Pike, which
this
is
is where we're
south of
gonna
Bradley
throw it.
Parkway, is ours.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just.
And I've been having discussions with Public Works. Some of my constituents that live off of Bradley Parkway, there's damaged fence and overgrown vegetation, and I've been working and reaching out, trying to get someone at the state to come out there and fix what's theirs. Because I've been informed that up until now, the neighbors who lived out there, some of them in their 80s and 90s, are going out there trying to mow right there next to Bradley Parkway, and we don't need to have that.
Councilor Bendick?
Mr. Honeysucker, I know in response to similar concerns, whether it be trash or gravel and bikeways that were on bridges that were over interstates, that you, I think, and Ms. Whitelaw had a conversation with TDOT. They were just kind of breaking down like, okay, we do this quarterly, and we do this monthly, and we do this. Has that been pulled together kind of in any summary fashion as far as, you know, whether MOU or otherwise? Like, I know conversations are happening, but it still feels so kind of disjointed, and for us to be able to communicate out, we do this, they do that. Can you just sort of summarize the conversations that you've had thus far and where that is?
Yes, ma'am. Right now, it's currently, as you say, it's still kind of in a flux right now, trying to bring all the parties together to get on the same page. The state, I know it seems strange that part of the bridge is the state, but 2 steps over to the left is Metro. They'll go up to that point, and then this other gap is left in the same situation. So ultimately, if the wind blows to the left, then it blows on Metro, it blows to the right, it blows on the state. So it's a little disconnection there that we have to work together, and we'll need the body's help to really intervene to help us make this collaboration come to fruition. So that's where we're at now.
And not just with the trash, I think it'd be helpful if we had some information about the different state roads, city roads, because Bell Road, get through several points, becomes Metro, becomes state, becomes Metro, it goes back and forth. And I know when I first had a question about my section of Bell Road by the lake, I'd been told by 2 separate people. One person said, no, that's Metro. The other person said, no, that's state. And now we're kind of back on it. Yeah, that section's Metro up to, I think, Smith Springs.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be great if we had kind of information about what streets are, maybe a map showing this color is Metro, this color is state, so that we can kind of educate our constituents as well.
So it could be possible for, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it could be possible for IT to supply for you, because in the hub, like if you have a request for litter, when I go into the hub, I can hit the, I forget what it is, but it's the overlay, and it shows what's Metro and what's not, what's private, what's Metro, what's state. And then if there's nothing on it, then it's just like a driveway or whatever. And it might be very helpful to see that, because Bell Road's a good example. From 24 to 40, it's Metro, and the other side of that is the state. And so if it doesn't say Pike or Highway, and Bell Road is probably one of the best examples, you would just assume it's all Metro because it's called a road.
Well, is there a mapping?
Alan Benedict Gamble.
Oh, and I was just gonna add to that the sheriff's office, you know, often will pick up trash on request. And I think they have been doing a whole lot of they've been filling in the gaps on I-440, and which is what I see, but probably on all the interstates until COVID hit. And then all of a sudden that completely stopped. So I think the once a month state pickup is becoming much more obviously inadequate because the sheriff's office is not routinely fill in that gap, and I'm not sure what their schedule is to go back to doing that. But if that is not a non-beneficial thing for them to be doing with the folks that are sitting there doing nothing anyway, then that may be something we want to see if we can get reinstated, or if it's not a good use of prisoner time, then we might need to think through how we fill in that gap, because they have performed a really important service and it's not happening now.
Chair, so my question, so we have many intergovernmental agreements with the state, and so I guess my question is, litter's a problem. Gallatin Pike is in my district, so from Bradley Parkway south, my district both is north and south of Briley Parkway. Briley Parkway South, it's a city road, and north, it's a state road. There's trash all along it. There's trash along, neighborhood streets as well. It's just a problem of the continued population growth that's taking place and things blowing and such. But I wonder if there's not a way, and so a question for the department, I guess, is there a way to partner with the state and work together in regards to funding to create a program that will improve, keeping Nashville clean?
So, State Senator Heidi Campbell, that was the mayor of Oak Hill, is trying to, and if any of you know her, I would suggest reaching out. She has been working to see if there was a way to provide funding to counties, and possibly with Davidson County being a pilot, that would provide funding to Metro to then, and it's sort of complicated, but to solicit nonprofit organizations for a fee to sort of adopt areas. It's really not gelled, but I think she would be interested in hearing your frustration and your interest in supporting that.
So it sounds like there may not be tax base available to address this issue, both at within the city as well as at the state. It sounds like we're looking for partnerships with nonprofits.
Well, the state would theoretically provide money to the counties to try and address litter with other, organizations, or potentially offset a county's highway department or whatever to address further. Right now, the sheriff's office gets a grant that you all approve every year for litter, but it's, and I forget the total amount, so I apologize, but it's less than $200,000 for 12 months. The sheriff could probably give you the exact number to address litter in Davidson County, and that's not very much money, even with inmate labor.
I think again, it's a lack of resources is what it sounds like, and so that's what I want to try to demonstrate, is that it looks like there may be ways that we can improve that with partnerships with the state, but it's definitely a growing issue that's very visible as people drive through our city and as people come to our city and look, and there's just, we happened to drive around for fun the other day throughout Antioch, and we went out to Wilson County too. There's a little trash there too, sorry. Wilson County. There, as a result of the population growth, I think people and just, transient folks that drive through, there just was a very noticeable amount of trash throughout the area that we drove, and which was significant, 150 miles or so on Saturday, and in addition to just what I see day to day in the district. So it sounds like there might be both a funding issue as well as coordination. So definitely, thank you for that.
Somebody got a trash problem?
Just two things. The state recently embarked or is embarking on a litter reduction campaign. It's a statewide campaign, and I don't know if there are some grant opportunities there that we might look at and pursue. But my question is, if on the state roads, are the reports for litter put through the hub, routed to TDOT for cleanup?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so TDOT has a queue like other departments, and it gets routed directly to them.
Okay.
But if I could add one thing, and the sheriff's office will probably confirm this, but about 6 or so years ago, the state legislature made a change to the DUI requirement. So it used to be that if you had a DUI, you had to do 24 hours of litter pickup. And what they did is they took that out and just said, your additional 24 hours or however long it was, you stay in jail. And that seriously hurt a lot of county litter, because there's this group of people that are required, and this was beyond court-ordered community service, to go out and pick up litter. And if you just Google state law, DUI litter, you'll see articles in other cities that complained about what happened after that, because you no longer have this sort of guaranteed every Saturday these people are going to show up, or whatever it was.
Well, and if I recall, I think on those, a lot of people had to wear jackets that said, "I'm a drunk driver," things that were very shameful as they were out, demeaning and shameful, while they were out picking up trash and serving their sentence, by picking up trash, they were shamed for the offense that they were then repaying, so. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I think that was.
I'm making the world a better place,
Yeah, I think,
yeah.
exactly.
Councilor Hall.
Hurt.
I'm sorry.
They don't look that much alike.
Don't put hurt on you.
Pardon me.
I'm the hall.
So, to me, a lot of this is really simple. I think there was a much greater increase during COVID. We have hundreds of millions of dollars of American Rescue Plan money. We had CARES money. Put money aside and clean up the streets. It's just that simple. It can be justified because we couldn't go outside. We couldn't do those things. Just do it. Just be like Nike.
And an education campaign, because the problem is, once it's picked up, 2 seconds later, it's
Right,
back.
well,
especially in our
understand,
parks.
but
Having an education, don't litter,
Broken window.
be a hoop, don't
You can pick it
pollute.
up.
But we got,
Those things.
we have correctional facilities with juveniles and as well as adults, and I just think it takes some coordination. And I know that there was also a roadscapes grant that TDOT had and many people, we fund the Gateway to Heritage project from that, and it was funds that people didn't even realize was there, and no one used it. So I think that if we just look at that as an opportunity and find a way to engage the community more, because most communities want their places to be aesthetically pleasing, and they have home associations that would be willing to do it. You've got Hands on Nashville, you've got sororities, fraternities, just a number of people who want to engage. It's just a matter of doing it.
Councilor Evans?
Oh, I was just gonna, and this may be the thing that Councilwoman Gamble was talking about, I got one email, and I don't know if y'all got the same ones, about comprehensive statewide litter pollution study underway with the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations. And so, anyway, so I just wanted to make a comment of what that was, since it was specific to an email. And then the other thing I was gonna say is, and I know Berkeley is awesome about writing notes down, but like one thing that whenever we were on beautification, it's like the cleanups were an event, and if we could allocate money to like bring shredding back to all the district events and that kind of thing, to make it more of an event. I know, it was kind of expanded this year compared to last year not having anything, but if we do something in the fall or something like that, that would be good, because it was like more of a party and you cleaned up litter at the same time.
Well, we have a group of folks from Keep Tennessee Beautiful, which is funded by TDOT, that are asking us to, and we're going to do this next month, start a, and don't laugh, trash exercise.
Pressure. So not loud.
I'm trying. Hard.
I follow your direction.
A lot of bending over. Councilmember O'Connell? I got you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While we're on the subject, and I know Sharon knows about this, we, in a specifically urban context where you have a lot of mixed use so that you've got residential immediately adjacent, we've had a lot of requests also for, street corner trash cans, right? And so we have had difficulty investing in those and keeping those collected. And similarly downtown, I know historically we have had a tension between needing to move trucks through alleys versus those alleys becoming interesting pedestrian experiences in and of themselves. And I think we need to look at creative solutions for, if you've got Banker's Alley and Printer's Alley becoming places where people are actually congregating because of interesting retail and hospitality scenarios, and those become interesting little pathways through downtown. We've got to work on creative solutions to trash collection there, and then also with those neighborhood trash cans. So I want to put that on the list.
Councilmember Roden?
I'm just going to throw this out there for y'all, and he would not want me to say this.
By all means.
But
No one knows he does this. But, so we've had grass cutting issues and trash issues on Old Hickory Boulevard. We had a private citizen step up and pave for Lebanon Pike, which gets the roads cut, trash picked up to make it look pretty, and they planted trees. This was all out of their pocket. State Representative Darren Jernigan, out of his campaign account, pays for about 3 miles of trash pickup and cutting in the medians. What I'm saying is pressure your state rep or your state senators who have money sitting in their campaign accounts with nothing to do and they have no opponents. Darren did it out of the goodness of his heart, but what I'm saying is, now you can say, State Representative Darren Jernigan does this.
Now, I happened to take Lebanon Road to Mount Juliet that day. So, I mean, I don't mean to say there's, anyway.
Do you know any council members who have lacked opposition for 2 terms in a row? Is that, who represent that part of the city?
I don't know those people.
Chair Nash?
You're ready.
Yes. So I guess the thread through all of this is kind of at the state level, and whether it's ongoing conversations or funding or what Senator Campbell is doing. But, you know, I continue to look at the state budget around roadways and paving and the billions of dollars. And so, you know, we piece together all these solutions and are very grateful for our community partners. I mean, I'm out there in the ditch picking up trash in my neighborhood. We're all doing it and we all care, but this sort of, you know, adopt a spot, do this, you know, this little event, that little event. I mean, like, what are your tax dollars for if you can't get litter off the side of the road? So, I mean, I want us to really look at those structural solutions, and I think a lot of that is just funding from the state. I mean, we have to put pressure on the state, on state routes. They need to fund that cleaning. And it has to be done on a cycle. I mean, Councilor Hurt's right, we're behind from a COVID perspective, like it's really acute, and the sheriff's office issue, like that's making it, but like this is a systemic ongoing problem. So, you know, whether through TML and otherwise, you know, we've got to kind of.
And I made Darren sound good. It might have been just out because I was harassing him so much. He said, look, I'm tired of this. You know.
We're grateful we're grateful for all of that, but USB roll out of service, and if you know your state rep or don't know your state rep, like we've got to do.
But they call too. You know, they call just as much as we do, and if they can't get a state road mowed or trash picked up, they're just kind of like,
Yeah,
I'm sure they're the same way.
I hate constituents feeling like, oh, I worked out this event, or oh, I made this connection, oh, we got this done. Like, no, it should just always be getting done,
right.
you know?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Along the lines of what Councilmember Henderson was saying, in the scope of right-of-way maintenance, whether it's litter pickup or street sweeping or mowing, does Metro contract or have MOUs with the state already as far as, and I don't know what you'd call it, so I'll give the example. The city of Gouldsville, for example, it mows the interstate on-ramps and off-ramps that belong to the state, and it gets reimbursement from the state for a certain amount. Now, the city of Gouldsville mows it more than what it gets reimbursed for because it wants it to have a certain appearance, but it's a benefit to the state because they're just writing a check and know that it's taken care of, and it's a benefit to the local government because they are getting paid for something they'd like to be doing anyway. And it's the same with the street sweeping of some of the state roads in the city of Gouldsville. I don't know about the litter pickup or not. Does Metro currently have any agreements like that with the state on any of those tasks, whether it's litter or even the mowing and stuff? Because, you know, if the state is only going to maybe do the mowing a certain number of times a year and we'd like it to be a little bit more, is there an opportunity for us to step in and have the state just pay us for what they would be doing, and then so that we're able to then either via contract or with our own right-of-way folks to be mowing it to a standard we'd want? So it's still costing us money, but it's allowing us a little more control on what's going on in the right-of-ways. And I don't know that there's opportunities for maybe that to include litter or kind of any of that. So do we know if we have anything like that, and is that maybe an avenue to look into and go down that might address some of what's being thrown out?
I don't know if we have anything formal. I do know that there's certain sort of informal agreements we have on salt and snow removal.
Right.
But I would need to talk to Philip Jones, who's over that area, and see if there are any specific, like sort of official agreements.
Yeah.
That I really don't know.
Chair, could we ask, pursuant to the conversations that you've had, the information that you know, if we could just sort of get, like, these are the existing agreements, this is what our understanding is, this is what, and then that helps us understand if we need to make any policy changes. We request just sort of a update at chair's discretion, or I don't know how much time that would take to kind of just get a summary of, like, all the stuff in this space that's relevant to making decisions around state advocacy or funding or just,
If it's litter removal, I think we can find that out pretty quickly.
Okay, good.
If it's more than that, that might take a little longer, but I
I'm
can make.
also interested in just like gravel, roadside. We passed legislation particular to no gravel on sidewalks, no gravel on the bikeways, hoping that individuals who are engaged in construction, it's incumbent upon them to keep that clean. That's part of why we passed that. But from an implementation perspective, are our right-of-way inspectors, which with this budget will be staffed up, but are we going to those people and saying, hi, all your construction site gravel is out in this bikeway and out in the road, as is food products from your construction site? Are we following up on that, right? So there's the policy piece of it, and there's also just the funding, what's everybody supposed to be doing standpoint.
I would like to, I'm sorry, Chair.
What would be a fair time to give you to get back on it?
Couple of weeks.
Next meeting? Okay.
So, Councilman Henderson, are you interested in the construction, the gravel along state routes, or just any in general?
I think, again, it's that same sort of thing. I've got like state routes, local routes, I've got satellite cities. I got
Yeah, you do have a.
You maintain this side of the street, we maintain that side of the street. I think putting everything in one place, whether state, local, otherwise, in the realm of right-of-way, debris, trash, litter,
And Angie, that's the one thing that I see, that's the thing I see the most, is that I have an area where there's an old home. Metro Parks owns the home. It's a state right-of-way. It's a little section. No one knows who cuts this grass, and it grows up 20 feet tall because no one knows who cuts it.
Right.
And it just sits there, but it makes the whole area look terrible, so.
all this kind of betwixt and between stuff where it's unclear. Like invariably, we might figure it out as individuals and say, oh, this is our workaround for it. But then we get term limited out of office and the next person doesn't know. I just want to make sure we're comprehensively addressing it.
Well, and I'm curious if there's ways to, I think it's important to look at it comprehensively, but I also think there may be ways to silo it just relative to trash. We know when somebody throws a bag from a fast food joint out, that's not the same as gravel. Now, it might be the same construction site that has gravel and the litter, right? But I'm interested in, to some degree, siloing the litter issue, because I think that is a bit of a different issue than gravel and other runoff and other what are the opportunities that we have with litter in regards to partnerships with the state, MOU, intergovernment, IGAs, easy for me to say intergovernmental today, agreements, and seeing what we can do as specific to litter. And of course the other pieces, mowing and gravel and other right-of-way issues are of course of concern, but I think the litter is very visible to people who are coming to Nashville, who look at our city, and it provides a real, people aren't noticing gravel per se that are coming to the city, but people who are coming to the city, if we want to portray an image of let's not be trashy. Let's pick up exactly right.
There's a car fender on every other corner.
Well, right. It's one thing to have something phallic driving down Broadway. It's another thing for there to be trash along the side of along the side of Broadway.
This may be out of order, but what would be the chances of us contracting with the state and taking over all of the maintenance? So that Metro takes care of Metro, and obviously we'd want them to pay us for doing that, but that would solve some of that, to me, just a state job. Well, except we just state, if you'll give us this amount of money, we'll take care of the mowing, we'll take care of the trash. And I know you'd have to ramp up some, but
Yeah.
is that
It never hurts to
a
ask.
possibility? Is that, I mean, I don't know if you have
I think we
the,
can,
Yeah, we can
talk.
definitely ask and
Yeah.
check on that.
see if they'd be interested in something like that.
we would probably need to figure out what it would cost for
Sure.
us to do it and then potentially go to them.
See what it's
And
costing them.
I'm not gonna pretend that I know everything about Broadway maintenance, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's, there would be equipment and extra
sure.
staff and, the time. And then go to TDOT and say it's gonna cost us $2 million a year, whatever the number is, and would you? And I don't know the answer to that,
Yeah.
but we can certainly, I'll work with John and we'll see what we can find out.
That's something within the realm of possibility. I don't know if it is or not.
The only
It just
problem is then
seems-
we wouldn't be able to blame TDOT.
Well, yeah.
The blame, that's a good one.
They just want to get it done.
Nothing to blame.
Thanks for that good discussion.
Anything else?
No.
Seem,
Didn't realize.
motion to adjourn?
All right, motion adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. And time for your committee.
All right.
Good evening and welcome to the Health, Hospitals, and Social Services Committee meeting on Tuesday, June 15th. We have a quorum and it's a light agenda today.